This is Photizo.
Hi there, my name is Lemoshe. I want to welcome you to another episode of Photizo. It's a platform where I share gospel to edify, to encourage, and to strengthen people. On this episode, I just want to bring certain things to your attention so that we can take note of all this, because somehow we hurt one another in relationships, in marriage, in church, family, even in our workplaces. And many times it's not because you wanted to hurt people. It's just that you are not sensitive to people's emotions and people's feelings. Whether we like it or not, whether you are saved or not, everybody has emotion. Everybody has things they are dealing with in their lives. We are dealing with different things and we are at different points in our lives. And so the fact that somebody looks okay on the outside does not mean that everything is well on the inside. We just need to be very careful how we act, how we behave, and be mindful of the words that we speak around those people. The Bible says words fitly spoken are like apples of gold in pictures of silver. Your words can either bring grace to people or your words can kill people. Of course, words are very strong. The truth of the matter is, every war, most of the wars that you see around the world today were verbally caused. And at the end of the day, it's also dialogue and verbal discussion that ends most wars. After people have been killed and all the damages have been done, at the end of the day, people have to sit down and talk, But if they have been considerate with their thoughts and their speech over time, many of the havoc that we see, many relationships that have been wrecked today will not have been wrecked. It's because we are not sensitive. We just talk. Paul said something in 1 Corinthians 13 when he was talking about love. He said, when I was a child, I spoke before I thought, and then many times when you speak before thinking, you find that you have done a lot of damage. And like we are told, there's a proverb that says that when an egg is thrown on the floor and it's broken, it's very difficult for you to put together again. Many relationships have been shattered, totally shattered, that they are irreparable. Many marriages have gotten to the place where they have signed up for divorce simply because of what is called irreconcilable differences. And you see, you ask yourself, this relationship started with hot love, there was passion, everything was on, but certain things were done, because one spouse was insensitive to the needs of the other person, and vice versa, and all that. Friendships have been terminated because someone was insensitive to another person, and all that. Yes, we have the freedom of expression, freedom of speech. However, we should be cautious and be very sensitive when we are around people. Let me give certain examples. There was a time I was preaching, I was teaching somewhere. Was it online? Yes, I think I was teaching online. And I was about to make an example. And all of a sudden, this dawned on me that this example you're about to give, even though it will make people understand the point you are trying to drive home much more, however, it might cause pain in the heart of people. And that example was teaching normally. I was going to example of, for somebody who has been married and there are no children. Now, that could be an example, clear example. You didn't go all out to hurt anyone. You are just trying to give an example to buttress a point. But at the end of the day, it reminds somebody of their pain points. Do you understand? All of a sudden, somebody who was actively engaged and listening to what you have to say, what you were saying before, all of a sudden, the moment you mention that, some person gets blessed and gets edified, another person just reminds them of the fact that, last 10 years I've been married, now there's no child. It brings pain and hurt into their hearts rather. So while somebody is getting blessed, another person is getting hurt. That is why as pastors, we must be very careful of our examples. You're talking about marriage, you're inviting people for, marriage, and they say, okay, if you want to be there, go and marry. And then, yes, people laugh, we trivialize it, but yet in somebody's heart, a hurt has been caused. And so we are not saying that you cannot talk. We are saying that be sensitive to people's plight. People are going through different things in their life. Some people have jobs, that don't have jobs rather. Some people, things are not working for them financially. Some people Maybe they are waiting on Lord for the fruit of the womb. Some people, maybe for a spouse, So everybody is at different level. Yet they are believers. They are children of God, actively loving the Lord, actively serving the Lord. But yet there are areas of need that they are still trusting God to resolve. And so when we are around such people, we should be very, very mindful. You can't go to somebody's house and say, where are the children in this house? It should be, there's a way you gauge things. There's a way you try to know things without causing hurt. Because you just open your mouth and just talk. Why is this house so quiet? This house is too dead. It's too silent. There are no children running this house, and all of this. And you just think you are just being open. You are just talking, but you should be mindful of your speech, because you have just caused pain in a home. In somebody's life. You met somebody you have not seen for a long time. You didn't see maybe a wedding band on their hands. Where's your husband now? You should have had 5 children by now. And the person, has not married. Maybe your age mate, maybe your schoolmate, and you have been married for 5-10 years, and your schoolmate is still looking for a spouse, and then they just you should have married by now, and then should have 5 children, or begin to use your own blessing to slight others. Don't forget that whatever you have, wherever you are today, is by the grace and the mercy of God. The Bible says that we don't take those things as though we want or merit them. We are just receivers of the mercy and the goodness of God. And the fact that somebody is here to enjoy that dimension of mercy and goodness does not mean that their lives are totally out of point. So we should be very careful when we around people. Be mindful of the words you speak. Your words should be seasoned with grace so that you can minister to people, not hurt people. You see, words are very, very powerful. Many of us are so casual with our words that we just think that we just talk flippantly. No, be very, very sensitive around people. Try to get to a place, look at the environment, look at the kind of people around you, and know what is prevalent in the atmosphere. And then that helps you to know how to speak, what to speak. And then when you even want to share testimonies of God's goodness in your life, be very mindful of those who have not yet enjoyed that dimension of blessing, so that you are not sharing testimony and it looks as though you are slighting other people and making them look as though they are not serious. There are sometimes you can share testimony of how God has blessed you. Maybe you got promoted at work, and then you come in a condescending way that is because I'm very serious, it's because I pay attention to details, and I'm very, very hardworking and all that. And there's somebody else who's hardworking, who is also equally doing all the things that is expected of them to do, but things are not gelling yet for. And then they now begin to look at themselves, where I don't think, and that's how people get damaged, people get hurt. And before you know it, the devil begins to play on their minds. And that is why when you see people who are trying to ostracize themselves from the general assembly of other people, is because when they come to those assemblies, people are not sensitive to their plight. We must be sensitive to the plight of single mothers, single parents. We must be sensitive to the plight of those who are widows amongst us. We must be sensitive to the plight of those who are trusting God for the fruit of the womb. We must be sensitive to the plight of those who are yet to get married, are marriageable age, who are yet to get married. We must be sensitive around those who are not financially as stable as we are, so that we don't just talk and damage people's emotions and people's hearts. Your job as a believer is to bring other people into edification. Your blessing should be a point where it helps people build up their faith. It helps people, get their confidence in God, not get people to be hurt because you came in the condescending, feeling superior, feeling that you are more spiritual than other people. That should not be the purpose of the things that we do. So when we come into a congregation, you are in a family meeting, you are at work, be mindful of your words. Ask yourself, don't be like Paul, who said, when I was a child, I spoke before I thought. Be like the adult who thinks before he speaks, and tell yourself, if I were to reverse the role, if I were to be the one on the other side, and somebody said what I am about to say, how would I receive it if I was the person on the other side? And once you do a role reversal, you find that, no, it will hurt me if somebody said this. It will help you to be mindful of what you say. And not that you cannot go and say say some things, but there's a way you can say the same thing in different ways. And the same words have been spoken, but the intonation, the way it's spoken, can either be a blessing or be a pain point. For example, good morning is different from good morning. No, there are two different things. You have said good morning, but you have not said the same thing. Good morning is coming from a jovial heart. Good morning, no. Just take and let me rest. I am very sorry for what I did. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, shut up. But I'm sorry means that, you are truly apologetic. You have seen that you have made a mistake. I have said the same thing, but I have not said it in the same way. And they have brought two different meanings. Actions are very powerful. So we must be very careful. Our words are very, very powerful. So we must be very, very mindful of how we talk around people, especially when there are people who have certain needs in their lives. And may I say this to encourage somebody's heart, that you have a need in your life does not make you less of a child of God than anybody who has it. Somebody who is richer, has more money, does not mean he's closer to God, or God loves him more than he loves you. That somebody has a child, you are yet to have a child, or somebody is married and you are yet to marry, does not make you inferior, does not make you less of a believer. You are loved by God, whether you have those things or not. And the things that we have are not a measurement of our spirituality. Not at all. That somebody has a job, or somebody has more resources, or somebody has more children than another person does not mean that they are more prayerful, does not mean they are closer or more spiritual than you. We are just beneficiaries of the grace of God at different times and at different levels. You see, one of the things that encourages me is that when you look, sometimes when I travel and I'm just looking at the map, when traveling, and you just see that right now it is like past 8 in the morning here, and it's quite sunny. I'm using the sun, for my stuff. But in some other part of the world, it is dark. Why? They are still in the night. Like, for example, in the US, maybe in Canada, they are still around midnight, around 11, 12, 1 a.m., that kind of time, and it's dark. But here is to 9 in the morning, and the sun is coming up. In some places that have gone ahead of us, maybe like 12 o'clock, it is 12:01, and then they are in the heat and it's very sunny. There are different seasons. And you know what? By the time it gets dark here, and in those places that have light now, the ones that are in darkness have light. That is how life is. You see, we are in different time zones. We are in different zones of our lives. So somebody's harvest time could be somebody's sowing time. And you are sowing in tears, you are sowing in pain, but somebody is harvesting and rejoicing. Don't let the harvester make a mockery of the person who is sowing, because the time is coming when the person who is sowing is also going to reap his harvest, and the person who has harvested is going back to sow again. And that is how life is. See, I may have some areas of need that you are blessed with, and the areas that you have need are the areas I'm blessed with. I've seen people, who are rich and we are trusting God for the fruit of the womb, and I've seen people who are poor who have children, and then the person who has money doesn't have the children, but the person who has children doesn't have money. It's not like he said, the person who has a head doesn't have a cap, and the person who has a cap doesn't have a head. That is how life is. But at different point in time, whatever the zone that we are in our lives, our job is to help one another, supply what is lacking in another person, supply the comfort, the edification that is lacking in another person, while the other person supplies the comfort and edification that you lack. And at the end of the day, we are all built together, strengthened together, edified together, and we're all doing well together. That is how God intended life to be, that we all grow together and we all supply what each person lacks. This is how to live life. So I'm charging you, child of God, be sensitive to other people's plight. Don't be frivolous around people, and don't talk anyhow. Think before you talk and ask yourself, is this going to minister blessing, or is it going to bring pain into people's heart? I believe this episode has blessed your heart. My name is Lemoshe. I love you. God has blessed you.